All right, so if you're noticing that we're in the same outfits and you're watching this on YouTube from the episode from last week, that's because we're not actually filming a normal episode for this week. We're not going to be doing like the typical silenced woman of STEM. Like, we're not going to be talking about science at all today, actually. And that is because my family is celebrating Durga Puja, and Eva is coming to it. And this week is going to be super hectic for us because it involves a lot of preparations, and we're not going to have time to film an episode. But I thought it would be cool to share my culture with you guys, and this is also going to be great for like all of my friends who don't know anything about Durga Puja or Navratri.
Just forward them the video.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll be like, you don't know anything about my culture? Here, watch my podcast. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm Bengali. If you don't know what that is, it's an ethnic minority in the eastern part of India. So that includes like West Bengal. I think Odisha is part of it. There's a place called Odisha, like Odisha. Yeah. Assam has Bengali people also. Obviously Bangladesh, and obviously there's people everywhere. But the ethnic minority is Bengali the same way. Like you have like Hispanic people. Well, I guess be more like the equivalent of like an indigenous tribe in some part of Central America. Regardless, I'm Bengali. One of the biggest celebrations we have is Durga Puja. Like, Durga Puja is our Super Bowl. It's literally like I am spending the whole week getting ready for it, like more than the week. And I am what is called an ABCD. All of my brown people will know what I mean. And it stands for American Born Confused Desi.
Confused?
Confused. Because we don't know what's happening at all, ever. And it's a movie called ABCD, which is about ABCDs.
Okay.
And like, so I think sometimes like people in India like low-key use it not as a slur, but like like it's they're an ABCD, like so I've been called that by my family before, especially my dad. My dad loves to call me that. So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Yippee LeBron James, that's my one flex. But I've lived in Charleston, South Carolina my whole life. It's not the most culturally diverse, and my understanding of Bengali culture and Hinduism is very limited to what my parents taught me, mostly my mom, because my dad don't do well with religion. And they wanted me to assimilate. Like, they were like, you should be American. And so they didn't teach me anything. So I don't know, like, half of the stuff that's, like, happening. So I was like, this will be great. Because then I can learn, and then you can learn, and everybody can learn. And I won't sound stupid when I go to Puja this year. Like, when I went to college, I hadn't celebrated Holi, which is, like, the color powder.
Yeah.
I hadn't done that. I hadn't celebrated Diwali. Like, I've never made, like, rangoli, which are, like, the designs, like, on the driveway. Never done any of that. The only thing I've ever done in my life was Durga Puja. And then I went to college, and then I experienced all of my culture and everything. So, yeah. Now I sound like a 4-year-old when I speak Bengali, like, unironically. Like, I'm like, me want that. That's, like, literally, like, stuff that I say. But I hope you enjoy. This was a really long intro for me to say. I hope you enjoy learning about Durga Puja and Navratri, and I'll get into what all of it is. So, before we actually get into the puja part, which puja is like a religious ritual. It's like kind of how like people go to like mass and pray, but like you do pray, but it's different types of praying. I'm not great at religion, so we're gonna do our best.
So puja is religious, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Puja is a religious event. And like you can have different types of puja. You can have like Lakshmi Puja, Saraswati Puja, like different pujas for different gods or goddesses.
Okay.
And you can consider this Hinduism or Hindu mythology. We have like the Vedic texts or like the Mahabharata, which is like a giant like epic, basically. So sometimes it's mythology, sometimes it's religion. The lines between them get kind of blurred. So Durga, which is like Ma Durga, the main like mother goddess, is one of the forms of Devi, who is like the main mother goddess. It's about to get real confusing. So like Devi slash like Shakti. Shakti's like divine feminine energy. She's like 1 and 2. Kind of how like thinking like Greek mythology, there was like Gaia and whoever the man was, but like they were the OGs.
Okay.
So Devi Shakti is like one of the OGs, and then one of her forms is Durga. So there are three main forms: Durga, Parvati, and Kali, and all of them are like the wives of Lord Shiva. So like Shiva and Devi are like they're in love. I don't know if they're in love, but they're like partners. Then we have Durga, Parvati, and Kali. There are many more iterations of Devi, but those are the main three. And they're not necessarily like three different goddesses. They're just versions of the same goddess, which when I first started learning about this stuff, it was so confusing to me because I thought they were all different goddesses.
Right. How do you, if say you're a person in East India or anywhere in India, who do you, like, is it based by region who you're choosing to like worship, celebrate?
Kind of. Like Hinduism is very much like you make it your own. So like some people will say, oh, we believe in many gods. Some people will say, no, it's actually monotheistic. We believe in one god. Everything is just a version of that one god. And so Bengalis are very much known for like worshipping Durga. Like that is their deity. Some regions will worship Hanuman. Some regions will like be more for like Vishnu or Shiva or like different. I'm trying to remember. I am not exactly sure which region it is, but there's like the tale of like Shiva getting cut into a bunch of different pieces and they were spread throughout India. And then there was one portion where his pee-pee was cut off. Oh. And there's a region that is like, we worship the pee-pee. I'm pretty sure. I'm so sorry that this is wrong, but this is what I remember my mom telling me. And then I remember when we went to India, there was a statue of the pee-pee, and we had to go and give offering to the statue of the pee-pee.
Was it just the?
It doesn't look like it. So like.
Okay. We'll put a picture in the YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. Here's the picture. There's no reason I need to look it up right now, but it's kind of just like, it kind of looks like an anvil. That's what I thought of when I first saw it. It looks like an anvil. So let's go back to Durga, Parvati, Kali. So Parvati is like the tender, loving side of the goddess. She's very caring. She's very maternal. She's the epitome of being a good wife and a good mother. She has the ability to create life, which balances out the destruction of Shiva, who's her husband. Then we have Durga, who's the warrior. She protects the universe, she destroys all evil, protects the innocent. She's often depicted as having multiple arms, holding multiple weapons, and riding a lion or a tiger. She's considered powerful and fearless and manifests whenever there's a need for protection and justice. Then there's Kali. Kali is my personal favorite. She's feared. Like, she is considered scary. Like, if you ever see, there's like a very, like, iconic picture of like someone dressed in like all black, or like they're painted black, literally. It's not blackface, that's just how the goddess looks. She's like completely black and like her tongue is like sticking out, her eyes are like super big. That's what Kali is. And she's typically very like misunderstood. Her energy is considered dark, feminine, and she's considered destructive and often associated with death. But it's not just like death for like the way like Hades is considered like killing people just to like kill people. This is more like exterminating, destroying when there is need for
so kind of
a
like,
new life.
Maybe like, I feel like some people portray like the Grim Reaper in that aspect.
Kind of, yeah.
But like obviously like more Hindu, not.
Yeah, no. That's a good way to like think about it. But it's all like a circle. Like Parvati creates life, Durga protects throughout the life, and then Kali destroys when you need new life.
So that's how like they're all like one, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's more. But Durga specifically is considered the three-eye goddess. So you have like the two eyes, and then you have the bindi, which is like a lot of people wear in India. It's not like required, but a lot of people wear a bindi because it represents like knowledge.
You might want to explain what that is for our non-understanding.
Oh yeah, you're so right. Let me just explain the eyes first. So you got the left eye that represents the moon, and it represents desire. Then you have the right eye, which represents action and is symbolized by the sun. Then the middle eye, so like there's an eye that's like right here, that is knowledge, and it's symbolized by fire. How do I explain a bindi? It's a sticker that goes on your forehead. It doesn't have to be a sticker. You can also draw it on, but it's like a dot, or sometimes it can be like a little design, and it goes like right in the middle of your forehead. And that represents like wisdom, and it's becoming like really popularized by like Coachella. Oh my
Really?
god. Oh, have you not seen the people with like the little like things all over, like the little like glitter rhinestones, everything?
Yes.
Those are all iterations
Really?
of bindis. Yeah. They look so cute. Don't get me wrong. They're really pretty, but like they're totally, because like when Coachella started first was like a thing, it wasn't bedazzled. It was like
Right.
white. It was like white like drawings and lines, which is
Yeah.
very common, especially for like
Okay.
and like for us, we like grind up like rice paste and like make almost a paint. My mom like had this for her wedding, just like completely like drawn on like all around her like eyes. They did the same thing for Coachella. Then it started being like stickers. Then it started being like sparkles.
That's crazy.
Oh my god, there's so much capitalization off of like Hindu culture. Not Hindu culture, just
That's
Indian culture in
crazy.
general. So, yeah.
That's crazy. We used to go like the dollar store when I was younger, and in like the makeup aisle they have like all the face gems. I used to beg my mom.
Oh yeah,
for-
face gems. Face gems are just bindis. Yeah.
You should go up to me and be like, hey, I like your bindi.
Oh my god, you're so right. So, side note, when I was younger and I was like doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, there's a very specific instance I remember. I was supposed to be at the library, like
Yeah.
studying, and instead of going to the library, I went to Starbucks to study because I had friends that worked there.
Right.
My mom didn't have my location at this point. There was no way of her knowing that I was at Starbucks. And then she calls me and she said, "Why are you at Starbucks?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I know you're at Starbucks talking to your friends and you're not studying." And I was like,
How do you know?
how do you know? I went outside, her car wasn't there. She wasn't there. She was at home the whole time. My dad was like, "Yeah, she's just been here." I was like, how do you
know?
So my mom would always be like, "It's my third eye." I was like, be so for real.
See, my dad used to do stuff like that, but he just put a tracker on my car.
Oh, no, my mom didn't do that. She made me share my location with her, but
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Though.
yeah, so mother's intuition, go crazy. So the story of like Durga Puja and Durga, there's like a main epic, I guess. And there was a demon. I am also not great with Indian pronunciation of different names, but I kept saying this over and over again. I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. So there's a demon, Mahishasura, who was wreaking havoc on Earth, and he defeated all of the other gods. And in a last-ditch effort, they came together and they created Durga. So they all like gave like different pieces of themselves, like lightning, and then Durga
Yes.
was created. I'm not really completely sure how that worked, but and also how she's like a form of Devi if all of the other gods had been defeated. But maybe she was just like imbued and she's like the avatar of Devi,
Yeah.
I guess. Regardless, Durga went on to challenge Mahishasura, who tried to attack her in all of his different animal forms. And then she defeated him and all of his little demons, and eventually beheaded Mahishasura, which is the common iconography that is displayed in her statue. So she's often displayed like on a lion holding up, like either there's a man on an ox and she's like cutting the man's head off and her lion is eating the ox, or it's just the demon. So Mahishasura literally means like, I think it's like buffalo demon.
Okay.
And so sometimes he's depicted as a man riding a buffalo, sometimes he is a literal buffalo demon. Regardless, she's always cutting off his head like with her like spear and everything. So speaking of her spear, let's talk about her weapons, because she's a warrior. The first is a conch shell, which represents Om, or like the sound of the universe. So a lot of times during puja, we will blow conch shells. I remember like busting my eardrums trying to do that because like I can't play instruments. I would blow as hard as I can. I burst my eardrums trying to do that, and like I couldn't hear right for the rest of the day. Yeah, I stopped blowing the conch shells after that. But sometimes we say it's to ward off evil spirits, kind of like a battle cry, or just to show devotion to the goddess. But we will blow conchs. I know that we got to be so irritating because like where we do puja, it's literally a neighborhood. It's just someone's house, and like we go and we tell them, we're like, hey, we're having a religious thing. Just know it's gonna be really loud. But I still feel bad because we are blowing the conch shells. Oh my god, there's a bug in here. Then she has a bow and arrow, which represents she has power over both kinetic and potential energy, and she controls all the energy in the universe. Then she has a lightning bolt to signify conviction. The same way that a lightning bolt will destroy everything in its path, one should attack any challenges with confidence. Then there's like the half-bloomed lotus, which represents humility and triumph. So like the same way a lotus isn't fully bloomed yet, but it will be one day. Your successes will come eventually, but you shouldn't be too sure that they're immediately going to happen, because like you could just as easily kill that lotus. So don't be too sure of yourself. Then there's the Sudarshan chakra. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a discus, and that signifies the power of Durga over the universe. And of course, the sword, which represents divine knowledge. This is cool. So it's like the sword is like the sword. The sword is shiny. It's like you like tilt the sword for like the gleam, and that's how you like lead people out of the darkness.
That's cool.
And then the most iconic weapon, like one of the ways, I think it's in Bharatanatyam, like you signify, like Durga is like you have like your like the big like trident. It's like this is like the trident that like stabs. That's how you like. I think that's how you. Don't quote me on this. I was never in Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam is a type of traditional Indian dance. But I think that's one of the ways you represent Durga. And so that's her like most iconic weapon. So each of the prongs on the trident, I think it's called Trishula or something like that. It represents Sattva, which is inactivity, Rajas, which is activity, and Tamas, which is non-activity. And it's considered one of the most powerful weapons that no evil can escape. On top of Durga being a form of like Devi or like Shakti, she also has 9 forms herself, which are collectively called the Navadurga, which each of the Navadurga represents a stage of life. So like she's a form of Devi, and then there are 9 forms that are a form of her, and then I'm pretty sure those forms have other forms. There's a lot of
We
forms.
need like a tree.
We do need a tree. But the celebration of Navratri literally translates to 9 nights, and my mind was kind of blown when I read that, because Ratri means night, like late in the night. Not like na or no it's different in Hindi and Bengali, but in Bengali it's no stands for 9. Rati is late, so Navratri literally means 9 nights.
Okay.
And this is a celebration of Ma Durga. Some places say that each of the 9 nights is dedicated to each of her forms, and some places say that you celebrate 9 nights because that is how long Durga fought Mahishasura until she finally won the battle on the 10th day. My mom always personally told me that it was like the story of the battle, and I didn't even know that there were 9 forms of Durga until we were doing the research for this. We'll come back to that. Let's talk about her 9 forms. There's a lot of names in here that I can't pronounce, but I will do my best. So, the first one is Ma Shailaputri, I think. This is the first step, the innocence of childhood. Shailaputri means daughter of the mountain. This represents the purity and softness that is within every child, and also represents the great potential and limitless possibilities of being basically a baby. You're a baby, you can do anything with your life. Then we have Ma Brahmacharini, the seeker of knowledge. Brahma is also like the most like intellectual versions of the caste system. Anyways, this comes with the form of a student who, like, as they grow, they learn knowledge, they have hard work and discipline and focus. So for children, it shows a path of curiosity and self-discovery, while in adults, it shows the importance of lifelong learning. Then we have Ma Chandra Ganta. Chandra Ganta. That sounds right. This is the awakening warrior. You know, you would think I didn't practice pronouncing these, and I definitely did, but it's fine. Anyways, this is the warrior. Well, one of the warriors. So here we're going from a child to like a young adult. She's often portrayed with her like 10 arms, each carrying the weapon and her third eye. And this is the young adult who's ready to take on life's challenges. It's about using inner strength and preparing to always defend what is right. Then we have Ma Kushmanda, which is the cosmic creator. This is the form of Durga that creates and brings life. So like Parvati creates and brings life, but so does Durga, and like my mind is a little bit confused, but like I guess everyone can bring life. But this symbolizes abundance and prosperity and reminds us that the process of creation is a continuous process. Then there's Ma Skandamata. Skandamata. I feel like my pronunciation is so bad. Please do not come for me. This is the protective mother. So here Durga is nurturing and protective, like a mother's unconditional love is. She teaches us selflessness and giving love to those around us. Then Ma Katyayani, which is the strong and fearless protector. This form symbolizes the protective strength that a woman gains after becoming a mother. There's a lot of like imagery and symbolism of like mothers and femininity and yes, it can be very empowering to become a mother, and I am terrified of becoming a mother. Anyways, this form is very fierce and powerful and will destroy anyone who tries to hurt her children. This form specifically is known for defeating Mahishasura. Then there's Ma Kalaratri, the fierce defender of justice. This also kind of sounds, so Kala means black, Ratri is night, so like dark night. Like this is also sounding very much like Kalima, which is like the dark form of her. Mm-hmm. So this form destroys evil, removes ignorance and darkness from the world, and I don't know if this is the same as Makali, but it sounds very similar. So maybe they're just different forms, but like they sound similar. This specific form has a story about how she drank the blood of the demon Raktabija in order to kill him, and this action is meant to represent how difficult choices must be made whenever defending justice. Then we have Mahagori, the return to peace. Mahagori literally translates to the Great White One. My grandmother's name actually was Gori, and she's like was always like she had the long white hair and was always wearing a white sari. So like I don't know, she died recently, which is kind of sad. But anyways, that just reminded me of her. But this form symbolizes purity, serenity, tranquility, much like the peace that comes after war. She brings harmony back to what was once chaotic, and this form of Durga teaches kindness and forgiveness. Finally, we have Ma Siddhartri. Siddhartri? Siddhartri. The wise and compassionate guide. I'm trying to imagine you trying to pronounce these.
I'm glad you didn't let me try.
But this is the final form of Durga, who is considered completely enlightened, full of wisdom and full of knowledge. She is the culmination of all of life's experiences and shows the importance of listening and honoring elders. That was a lot. Those are the 9 forms of Durga that you celebrate for the 9 days of Navratri. Let's get into the actual festival.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes, please.
They created, where the gods came together to create Durga?
Durga, yeah.
Are these like in some way symbolic of like the parts that they gave to create her?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think so, yeah. And they might not have individually been each like from one god, but I think like
maybe those are like the components that make her.
Yeah. Her. Yes. So Navratri follows the lunar calendar, meaning it's not always on the same day. This year, Navratri started for us yesterday, September 22nd, and ends on October 2nd. Navratri is generally celebrated by most Hindus, but the way in which it's celebrated varies between the region because there is so much ethnic diversity in India. So Gujaratis, Western India, will often do Garba or Dandiya and Ras, which I like to describe as like Indian line dancing, but it's in circles. Like, it's literally Indian line dancing. Like, there are steps that, like, everybody just seems to somehow know when you dance in circles.
That's cool.
For hours. Hours. It's so long. You sweat so much. It's really fun. If you have Guju friends, or even if you don't have Guju friends, go find a Guju and go to Garba, because it's great. South Indians will often celebrate with golus, which are like dolls and figurines. And then North Indians will perform Ram Leela, which is like a story of, like a folk story about Lord Rama and like the Hindu epic of Ramayana, it's kind of how like churches during Christmas will be like, this is the story of how Jesus was born. It's low-key like that, but like how like Rama went through all these trials and like brought light back to his city. In college we would go through the story of Ramayana and Navratri it was Ramayana every Diwali, and I could never remember it. But regardless, even though there are different versions of celebrating Navratri / Durga Puja, they're all tied together by the devotion to Durga Ma and honoring feminine power. Now you may be wondering, why are we talking about Navratri? Like, where's the Durga Puja and all this? So they're like kind of the same, but also kind of not. They fall on coinciding days. So Navratri is more for the 9 forms of Durga. It's about like spiritual cleansing for the body and mind. Durga Puja is more for celebrating the defeat of Mahishasura by Durga Ma. So that's the story I grew up with, which is why I didn't even know that there were 9 forms of Durga Ma. But Durga Puja is more about feasting and storytelling and artistry, and Bengalis love to say how they're so much more intellectual than the rest of India. That might just be my dad speaking, but my dad was always like, we are intellectuals! Yeah. So Navratri is a lot of like fasting and like devotion. It's like you cleanse your body, you need to reach enlightenment. Durga Puja is you eat as much as you can, you have fun, like it's a party.
Do some people celebrate both?
Yeah, all the time. It's just like Durga Puja is bigger for Bengal. Like,
I see.
We will be like, oh yes, it's Navratri, like happy Navratri, all of that. But during Durga Puja, like we go all out. Like schools in India, in those regions, they're off for the whole week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Like I remember like my parents telling me, because my mom's from like Kolkata, which is like major Bengali center. And she was like, it would be crazy, like the temples and all of the different places, like the statues and everything, the amount of people was just insane. So Durga Puja falls on the last 5 days of Navratri, ending in Dasera or Vijaya Dashami. Okay, I know how to say Vijaya Dashami because Geet's mom name is Vijaya. But this is considered the defeat of Mahishasura. In the US, I've often seen people celebrate like the last weekend near Navratri. So like it'll either be like a weekend during Navratri or like the weekend after, or like sometimes like nearby, but that's just because like in the US, like everyone has jobs. It's just so that we can fit the celebration into a weekend. So we're celebrating it October 3rd through October 5th. And Durga Puja is most commonly celebrated by like Bengalis, and we treat it as a celebration of good over evil. Like my mom always told me, like she was like, this is the celebration of like good always wins. I was like, okay, I'm 6, but slay. So how is it exactly celebrated? So we have takurs, which are like statues, but like these are statues on crack. Like these statues get handmade in India. Like I remember we had like our original takurs when I first moved here, and then like the family that's like the priest and all of that, they got more shipped over, and like they were insane. Like they came in these giant boxes, like they were thousands of dollars, I think, because they're all hand carved, everything's handmade, hand painted.
That's so cool.
And
like that's true art and like actual devotion.
It is. You will see, it is insane. And it's not just like, oh, like the statues are carved, like you dress them, like you take your personal clothing, like everybody like kind of from the community will like give something. So like sometimes one of the women will like give a sari for Ma Durga, and like we will drape it on her and like dress her fully. We will put like completely like 22, 24 karat gold. Everything is draped on her. She gets her jewelry done, she gets her hair done, she gets her makeup done, everything. And then...
This is a dumb question.
Yes.
How does the statue get her hair done?
We have hair on the statue.
Oh, like, does the person who creates the statue, like, incorporates hair into it? Or do you, like a wig?
No, I think it's, like, it's made of clay, so they, like, put hair into the clay.
Okay.
So it comes down, like, her actual hair.
That's cool. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We'll put pictures.
And then on either side of Ma Durga, she has her children. So we have Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, Ganesh, who's the god of beginnings and the remover of obstacles. And then I always thought it was Kartik, but everywhere I was seeing it was like Kartikeya. He's the god of war. I also think that Shiva is also considered a god of war. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But there are lots of rituals and lots of offerings, so I'm gonna like give you a couple of them. One of them we'll do is Pushpanjali, which is like you'll have flowers in your hand and then you kind of just repeat like mantras. And this is like an offering of the flowers to the goddess. Then there's Arti, which is very similar but with fire. So you'll hold like a plate with fire and then like you do like the offerings and kind of just like make your devotions as you do that. Then there's the fruit. I don't really know if there's a specific name, but my mom would just always send me to the grocery store and she was like, get an apple, a kiwi, and a mango. They were like the randomest fruits. And like sometimes she'd just be like, get a random fruit, and I would get like a star fruit or like a papaya or like just something really random. Because when I was younger, I didn't realize that you were supposed to eat them, so I would just get like the weirdest fruit.
Oh, and then you had to eat them.
Yeah. So once the fruit get blessed, they become prasad, which is blessed fruit. I don't know if there's a translation for prasad. But I hate fruit. I really do not like fruit. And like you're supposed to eat it because that's how you
like mango.
I like it's fine. It's fine. I'm not a fan of fruit. The problem is also when they cut the fruit, they cut everything with the same knife on the same board and they mix it all together. And there's rice on it for some reason. There's always rice on it.
On the knife or on the...
Both.
Oh.
And so all of the fruit kind of tastes like each other. And I hate bananas. Bananas make me want to throw up. And someone always brings bananas. And there are always bananas. And it always makes me sick. So I will eat like one thing. Because it's usually like a bunch of fruit. And then like one little like mishti, which is like sweet. So I'll usually eat the mishti because like we have something called narkul naru, which is like a coconut sweet, which is like one of the very few sweets that I actually eat because it's not actually that sweet. So I will eat that. And if there are cucumbers, I will eat the cucumbers. And then, like, I make my mom eat the rest and Geeth eat the rest. Because, like, as long as I eat something, I'm taking the blessing. But, like, I will actually throw up if I eat something that tastes like banana. But that's offerings. Then we have Dunichinach, which I described as fire dancing. Geeth went and he was like, this isn't fire dancing. So you have pots or, like, lamps, I guess, with smoke. So they're burning incense or coconut shells and we like jump around and dance with them. I say jump around because like Produt uncle, like our priest, like he doesn't really dance. He like quite literally just like hops around and like shakes the like thing and starts like one time he like almost spilled like smoke like on a child. And one time he almost fell over a child too. And everyone was like, what are you doing?
He's blessed.
And child's blessed. So yeah. It's really fun. You'll do it. Blake will do it. Your parents will do it.
That's cute.
It can be a little awkward, but it's just the whole idea is that symbolizes prosperity and positivity, and it's just like you have a good time. Mm-hmm. But you're supposed to be directly in front of Durga. So if like the camera is Durga, you have to be doing like the dance in front of her. Problem is, everyone wants to take pictures, everyone wants to like image and photograph and all of that, and so people will start to move in front of it, in front of the takurs, to do that. And there's so many people, we do it in such a small space, there isn't a ton of place for it to be a clear path to Durga. And there's so many times I remember like little kids just running like across, they could just like get yanked by like their parents or someone, they're like, you can't be in front. And like our priest will like yell for everyone to like scoot away. So more of the story, don't block Durga during Dunichinach. So then we have Oshtami, which is the 8th day of Navratri. On this day, prepubescent girls are honored as Durga because we have the belief that Durga lives inside all of young girls. So my uncle, Frod's uncle, who's the priest, he would exclusively call me Ma because like I am like his like youngest daughter.
Right.
Because he has like his two like by blood daughters, but I am like kind of like the youngest of them, and so he's like, this is Ma, she like blesses me, so he'll sometimes like ask for my blessing for like different things like that. I don't know, it makes me feel a little special. But on this day we give like gifts and money and stuff to the like little girls because we want them to bless us and to bring prosperity. For our puja, little is relative. Little is anyone younger than me. So like there are girls in like 10th grade, and we're like, yeah, you're the little girls, because like I was the youngest when we were growing up,
Right.
and then like a couple years after me, then there was a bunch of like kids. So I'm like now considered like the youngest of the oldest. So anybody younger than me is considered like the little like girls that we blessed for Oshtami. And then we treat them like princesses all day, and they love it. Then finally, we have Sindur Kela, which is a ritual where married women give offerings to Durga as they bid her farewell back to her like heavenly abode. And you play, well, not you, very specifically, married women play with Sindur, which is vermilion powder, kind of like Holi, where like you throw the color on everyone, but it's only married women, and you only use the red Sindur powder. And I used to get so jealous of my mom because I was like, I want to do it. And she's like, you can't. It's only for married women. I was like, I want to do it though.
I have a question. Do some people wear it like daily, kind of
Yes.
like a... Okay.
Yes. So that is one of the symbols of marriage, kind of like how American, and not just American, a lot of people wear rings for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
We do like sindoor. So actually, in India, having a wedding ring isn't always super, like the males usually have a wedding ring. Women don't always have a wedding ring. We have a tali, which is like a necklace. We wear it, and we wear a sindoor.
Okay.
And I didn't realize, I think that is a very specific Bengali thing also, or it's like more common in West Bengal than in other countries, or not other countries, other regions. Because like, I don't know who I was talking to, but they were like, oh, I've like never like heard of like sindoor. And I was like, your mom don't wear sindoor? And then I learned it's very like, it's mostly a Bengali thing.
I see.
But yeah, that is pretty much our mini-sode on Durga Puja. That is the tip of the iceberg from an ABCD. I don't know very much, but I hope you learned a little something. And that, yeah, the end. Yippee. Good wins over evil.
Yippee! Awesome.